the first thing people find is the physical wellness, right? You might reduce your extra weight or be able to sleep better, things like that. But then it's also about the mental component. When you take a deep breath, your nervous system starts to relax. With a relaxed nervous system, you change your reaction to everything around you. You start to really take in what's happening and have a thoughtful response instead of a reaction. And in that respect, it's whole wellness. Just the breath and the way that people use their breath in yoga can change your blood pressure. It can change your heart rate and your circulation, body temperature, right? You can increase your circulation just with your breath. So no matter what age you are, it's valuable. And I think that yoga is like the fountain of youth, honestly. If you lost it, you can get it back through yoga, through a regular practice.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. And today our topic is yoga for life. Now, most of us think of yoga as, just another kind of exercise, but you get to wear those cute yoga pants. And gossip magazines are always featuring pictures of celebrities walking around LA with, their yoga mat under their arm. It's fashionable. It's cool. But that's just scratching the surface of what yoga is all about. Our guest for today is a yoga instructor who wants to raise awareness of how yoga can change your life, not just your figure. Amber DeBarge is the owner of Come As You Are Yoga based in San Francisco, California. Her mission is to provide the tools and opportunities for people to gain physical comfort and flexibility so that they have the focus and the energy to find, seek, and maintain sustainable joy and fulfill their life's purpose. Welcome, Amber.
Thank you so much, Amy. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Now, what I find fascinating about your story is that you worked in a high-paced corporate job, and then you left to become a yoga instructor. Like, talk about fulfilling your life's purpose. Could you talk about why you made that switch?
So I found yoga after I was working a lot. I was on the phone a lot. I was traveling and sitting, and my body wasn't comfortable. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to take a stretch class, right?
Wow.
I didn't just get physical comfort, but I got a lot of other amazing side effects from practicing yoga. And I found that I started sharing that with others, because when you have something that's that amazing and that life-changing for yourself, you can't keep it to yourself, right? And then the next thing I know, well, more than a decade later, I finished teacher training, and now I share the value and the purpose of yoga with people every day, all day long.
What I really like about it is you had the same kind of wake-up call I did, which is a job where you're sitting all day. I read some terrible study that said that, sitting all day is as bad for your health as smoking a pack of cigarettes. It's really bad. And so most of us will come to yoga at first because we realize that, our posture's out of alignment, we're getting stiffer. And so what we find is something a little different. Now for you, you've talked about how yoga is about joy, it's about mindfulness, it's about a way of life. Like, this isn't what most people expect when they come to a yoga class. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So there are a couple of different parts of yoga. Yoga is a system, it's a philosophy, and it's a whole life philosophy. So there's one tiny part of that, which is the physical movement of yoga. But when you put that physical movement of yoga together with the other pieces, like how you use your lungs and your breath, and what you spend your mental time on, it's that combination that can be truly transformational. And by transformational, you're right. Physically, you'll be stronger, you'll feel better, and what that will do is allow you the time and space and flexibility to change the other areas in your life.
So you have talked about how yoga can help with muscle pain, it can help with stiffness, it can help with back pain, fatigue, weight loss, even, and this is what shocked me, even cancer. So what role does yoga play in wellness?
Wellness is about your whole life, right? We're not talking about wellness of your legs or your back, but wellness in a whole life capacity. So the first thing people find is the physical wellness, right? You might reduce your extra weight or be able to sleep better, things like that. But then it's also about the mental component. When you take a deep breath, your nervous system starts to relax. With a relaxed nervous system, you change your reaction to everything around you. You start to really take in what's happening and have a thoughtful response instead of a reaction. And in that respect, it's whole wellness.
Because one of the other ways that we often come into yoga is the doctor says, you need some stress management techniques. And my first experience with yoga was in college, and, stressful. College is so stressful. And it was so lovely to spend that hour in the gym a week, just chilling out and making your mind quiet. And sometimes I think we hear about, we should meditate, we should do these things. But one thing I really like about yoga is the fact that you're doing it in a group. So you're forced to do it. It's not like you're sitting at home, you think, I should sit down and clear my mind for 10 minutes. And then, of course, you're checking your phone and the phone rings and you can't do it. And so part of the benefit of yoga is the group practice, isn't it? It's being with a group of people all relaxing.
Absolutely, definitely. And I think that today we live very separate lives, right? Very individualistic lives. And so the group portion in today's world is really important and meaningful for people. But for most people, and traditionally, yoga was practiced for yourself by yourself. So here's the thing that I think is really awesome. The group classes bridge that place where you're right, it's incredibly difficult to slow your mind and find your mat for 10 minutes a day by yourself. But if you do it in a group, you'll start to notice that ability to be quiet and calm and still will leak out into other areas of your life. And you'll find yourself, when you can't get to class, rolling that mat out and spending 5 or 10 minutes just for yourself, wherever you are.
Wow. And I've heard that from other people as well. Yoga has a bit of an addictive quality to it because that peace, we need that sense of peace, and it feels so good. So one of the other things I wanted to ask you about is you've got a fantastic blog, and I was reading through it, and this is really something that interested me. You said the only way to know if your yoga is working is to determine if your relationships are improving. Now, most of us think about yoga, wellness, fitness, but relationships, what does that have to do with it?
So it's really difficult to tell if you're more calm today than you were yesterday, right? Are you more stressed out or less stressed out? Well, while you were sleeping, your life didn't change. You still have work and kids and home and all of these projects you're working on. When I say one of the reasons you can find whether or not your yoga is working is through your relationships is because that's a really great indicator, right? So what do we need to have a good relationship? Lots of things, but patience, the ability to listen, the ability to stop and recognize how our relationships are even working. And when we are physically comfortable and mentally still and able to have a whole thought and be thoughtfully responsive, our relationships have no choice but to improve.
Wow. I love that. You never see, a marriage counselor saying, no, I think you should both do yoga together. Because imagine not just doing yoga for yourself, but imagine being able to do yoga as a family or with your partner. One of my favorite things recently has been my daughter thinks that all mothers wake up in the morning and do yoga. She's just decided that's what mothers do in the morning. And so every so often she comes out and she joins me, because one of the things I like doing about in the morning is getting that morning sunshine. There's been a lot of studies saying when you get that morning sun, your metabolism speeds up and you burn more calories throughout the day. And doing it with somebody else is a very intimate thing. It's very connecting. And to think about doing that with a partner, you wouldn't think of doing, yoga together as romantic, but maybe it's a way of connecting.
Absolutely. To yourself and to the people that you love.
Yeah. So coming to the next question, there are so many different yoga classes out there, and you teach some that I'd never even heard of. Could you walk us through all the different kinds that are available and how we could choose which one would be best for our needs?
Okay. So what types of yoga are there? A lot of the yoga classes are named for how quickly they'll be moving. right? So it's not actually the meaning of the word, but instead we've kind of come up with something that we recognize as a specific type of yoga, like vinyasa, which means to join one movement and one breath, right? The joining of those two things. And what that means is you're going to be moving swiftly enough that your exhale will have one movement and your inhale will have the next movement. The second style is called hatha. And this is kind of a slower style. I find that usually it's a 3 to 4 breaths per movement yoga. Great if you don't know what the movements are and you're going to need those 3 or 4 breaths to figure out if you're in the right position or not. And then there's restorative, which a lot of people think of as a style that's for people who've been injured, but I would love for that to change. I find that restorative it's a very slow moving yoga. So you rest 5 to 7 minutes in each pose. It can be fairly, I don't want to say intense, maybe moving, fairly moving, and requires a lot of concentration. So I would say that even though it's the slowest moving, it's maybe the most advanced style because you have to be able to relax in each pose. That's challenging. And restorative is great for people who lift weights or who already have a very vigorous exercise practice, like running or swimming or something like that, where they're getting lots of cardio. And then there's other specialty styles like Kundalini, which is fast-paced and breath-centered. And we could go on. I mean, really, honestly, yoga is named for the person who designed that particular practice. So pretty much for every master, there's another name for a yoga class.
Wow. So I want to talk about one more kind that has become really popular, Bikram yoga. Do you have to be pretty fit to be, I just heard horror stories about coming out of those classes and how people are just sweating buckets and things.
Yes. Okay. So Bikram yoga. Everybody has a different opinion, and I absolutely encourage everyone to explore what's out there. Bikram is done at a much higher room temperature than other styles of yoga. And Bikram is also called hot yoga. So if you find a place, they also call it hot yoga. There are a reduced number of poses, and they're always in the same sequence. So that's kind of fun, right? Because you can see your transformation because it's always going to be the same poses. And that elevated temperature is wonderful in letting your muscles think that they're more flexible than they really are. So when you're doing it, kind of pull back a little bit and really pay attention to how flexible you are, would be my suggestion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never tried it, but that's been in my to-do list. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about, because it's so important, is how does yoga work with getting older? Because one of my favorite books recently has been Yoga for Seniors. It's not its name, but it says basically no matter how old you are, starting a yoga practice can help. But it has all these pictures of, even 80, 90-year-old women doing these extraordinary things. And most of us think as we get older, we can't do stuff like that. It's like the flexibility isn't there. So why would we start yoga and be shown up by all these young people when it would be a bit embarrassing? What can yoga do for us the older we get?
So much. So I've actually practiced yoga with people who are bedridden. And
Whoa.
It's even incredibly valuable for you, no matter what your current physical state is. Just the breath and the way that people use their breath in yoga can change your blood pressure. It can change your heart rate and your circulation, body temperature, right? You can increase your circulation just with your breath. So no matter what age you are, it's valuable. Let's say you're starting post-retirement, right? You've spent all this time working and probably sitting a fair amount of that time, driving or sitting at a desk, and things have started to get rigid. And I hear a lot of times, oh, well, that's because I'm older. This is what age does to you. And I would invite people to explore that age didn't do that our habits, that our posture did that for us. And what I'm finding is that I practice in classes where I'm the youngest person by far. And these women who are 20, 30 years older than me, sometimes more than that, are flexible and stronger. They can withstand more practice than I do.
Wow.
Yes, and I think that yoga is like the fountain of youth, honestly. If you lost it, you can get it back through yoga, through a regular practice.
That is fantastic. So I want to just pick up on something. Is it possible that yoga can make you more attractive? Because I was just thinking of all the things you're saying, the posture and, the grace and the peace. It sounds like it's also the fountain of sexiness too.
Well, what is sexiness? Someone who's confident, who's comfortable in their body, who smiles and is relaxed, that's sexy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're practicing yoga on a regular basis, you're going to find that you are more comfortable in your physical body, that you have an ease about you, that you're calmer, right?
Yeah.
And so the answer is yes, absolutely yes. Can you also get an amazing body through yoga? You can get an amazing body. And that's sexy, absolutely. But that confidence, that's really where I find people excel and they really put their best forward.
Wow. So, we've gone over so many things it can do for you. It can help you with, sitting all day, and it can help you with your health, and it can help you with growing older, and it can help you with your relationships. There's nothing it can't do. So, for those of you watching, I'm really going to encourage you right now to go check out Amber's site. She's got a blog where she writes about the philosophy of yoga. And if you're in the San Diego area, you can go to Come As You Are Yoga and check out the classes. The link is yourbrilliance.org/yoga. That's yourbrilliance.org/yoga. Okay, Amber, we're coming to an end. I'm not sure there's anything more to say, but do you have any last message you'd like to leave our viewers with?
I think my favorite thing about yoga is that if you can find the flexibility on your mat, that you will find the flexibility in the rest of your life. You deserve joy. Seek out that sustainable joy that is your birthright.
Fantastic. And thank you out there for watching. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, let your brilliance shine.